Mu Sen gave a friendly smile to Wang Zheng. This was surprising to Lan Zhong. He had originally said those words casually. However, why did it feel that Mu Sen was really interested in what he had suggested? However, he was truly willing to sacrifice Wang Zheng for the sake of science. The duel between the warriors was still ongoing. It could already be considered a grand festival as the spectators were singing war songs, letting out war howls, and smashing the ground with great force. The primitive instincts, outgoingness, toughness, and bravery were on full display and were burnt into the eyes, ears, lungs, and even livers of the spectators. At this moment, there was no longer any distinction between human and the people from Tita. Everyone was immersed in the various rounds of tribal duels. Just like the glorious setting sun, it also brought much hope for the future for various tribes. It was also just like a champion standing upright with his arms raised, accepting the various blessings in admiration. Wang Zheng had joined the crowd who was cheering. The wildness was actually hidden deep within every human's bones. He was fond of such feelings. Battle had allowed him to feel his own existence. Not knowing when, Lan Ling had also appeared. She raised her arms and gave the victor her blessings. Sun Xin was different from others, as she maintained her alertness. No matter how lively and bustling the environment was, it would not affect her judgment. It seemed to her that there would always be people who would harm her master. Lan Ling had noticed Wang Zheng. The big boy who seemed shy and weak wasn't as shy as she thought. The strongest warrior had emerged. He was Rara Durai of the Pool tribe. He had defeated warriors from all the other tribes and was the champion of the warriors in this new generation. Roar! Rara Durai pounded his chest hard. With a body similar to a small mountain, it gave an extremely pressuring feel. In his eyes, humans were just like dwarves. However, as their wise ones were even smaller in stature, there weren't any issues of discriminations. Looking around with his wild glance, he wasn't satisfied with the duels. Were they any more challengers? Elder Khalifa from the Pool tribe was very satisfied. After taking a glance at the guards of the Lan family, he suggested, "This is a grand festival. How could we leave out our human brothers? Could it be that there is no human who dares to go against our warriors?" Chattering. Just as Khalifa finished his sentence, the warriors of Tita growled with low voices excitedly. They had not had enough of the duels. They had not vented the wildness in their bones. Lan Ling smiled gently. After taking a glance at Lan Zhong, who was nodding his head gently, she said, "There isn't a lack of warriors in the Lan family. How could the Lan family miss out on today's festival?" Clearly, the Lan family had participated in a similar dueling festival between the people of Tita. The people from Tita had also acknowledged their position in their tribes. If it was the people from the commerce organizations or even the people from the Milky Way Alliance, they wouldn't be able to join even if they wished to. Meluxius, the captain of the Lan family's guards, smiled, took a step out, and said, "Rara Durai, you have to defeat me before you can be crowned as the champion of warriors." Would it be too dangerous? Wang Zheng blinked his eyes. Rara Durai was a giant close to 6 meters in height. Although Meluxius wasn't too bad himself, he couldn't be having a brawl with such a giant. From the previous battles between the Tita warriors, it was clear that the people from Tita had terrifying strength. "Brat, are you dumb?" said Wang Zheng's roommate, Scarface Luo, as he slapped Wang Zheng's shoulder. "Obviously, he will be using a mech." Boom! A G6 mech moved towards them from a far place. It was a regular assault warrior model mech equipped with a tower-shaped alloy shield and an alloy battle blade. A young guard jumped out from the mech and handed the mech to Meluxius. Meluxius entered the mech and made some adjustments. The tower-shaped shield smashed into the ground heavily, resulting in a huge sound. Pointing the battle blade at Rara Durai, he shouted, "Equip your battle armor and let's determine the winner between us." A warrior from the Pool tribe brought a huge set of battle armor forward. This was made by the Lan family. It was a battle armor specially designed for the people from Tita. When a warrior from Tita wore such armor, using their monstrous strength together with the miniature power assist device, it was enough to battle on par with humans in Mecha on the planet of Tita. Rara Durai grabbed the long, metal alloy blade from the set of battle armor but threw the battle armor aside. He laughed and said, "I will not need the armor." The whole crowd was taken aback. Lan Ling frowned and wanted to dissuade. This does not seem to be alright, if. No matter how tough the people of Tita were, if they were to face a mech without battle armor, they would be at a disadvantage. Mu Sen smiled and said, every warrior has the authority to make their own decision. Lan Ling opened her mouth and wanted to continue to dissuade them. However, after seeing Elder Khalifa from the Pool tribe maintaining a calm composure, she did not bother speaking up again. Boom, boom. Every Tita warrior was smashing the floor with great strength and using their most tribal growls to support the seemingly barbaric decision of Rara Durai. Rara Durai looked just like a champion on a conquest, raising the battle blade within his hands and drawing waves and waves of cheers. With a loud booming sound, the tower-shaped shield of the G6 mech dropped onto the ground. Meluxius also raised his battle blade up, laughed, and said, Rara Durai, trying to act cool will incur a lightning strike on yourself. However, I admire your bravery. Let's go all out and have a face-to-face battle. The pride of a Manalasua warrior was at stake. If the opponent chose to not equip his armor, naturally, Meluxius would also not use the turtle shield to exhaust Rara Durai in a battle of attrition. A face-to-face battle, face-to-face battle, face-to-face battle. No matter if it was humans or the people from Tita, they all let out a similar roar. Boom! Rara Durai waved his metal alloy blade and rushed towards Meluxius. His physical size was much shorter than the mech. Rara Durai moved like a meteor towards Meluxius, and the crowd was in awe. They had originally thought that Rara Durai would make use of his more agile body and prolong the battle. However, looking at the situation, he was going in head-on. Dueling with a mech with his own body. Meluxius wasn't just a weak soldier. He was a Manalasuo super warrior with lots of experience. He knew how to fully utilize the mech. Was Rara Durai looking for death? Bang! There weren't any fancy moves but just a head-on collision. The battle blade and the metal alloy blade clashed heavily together, releasing a deafening, buzzing sound. Rara Durai did not get blasted away as was in most people's imagination. He was able to take the attack of the mech head-on and was able to be on par with it. How could this be possible? However, the truth was that it really happened. It wasn't an illusion or imagination. Moreover, as Rara Durai let out an angry growl, a stronger force erupted from his body. The second attack was released and it headed towards Meluxius. Clearly, Meluxius couldn't just back off. Similarly, with an intense change of moves and strongly controlling the mech, the engine of the mech roared loudly as it was pushed to the limits. His control of the G6 mech had reached the pinnacle and couldn't be improved further. Dang, 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 dang. Countless collisions resulted in sparks flying. Wang Jun was observing curiously. There were no fancy moves behind the strength of Rara Durai. Rara Durai was truly able to take on the full force of the attacks of the mech. This was pure strength from his body. Every breath of Rara Durai was short while exuding immense power. It even looked similar to some kind of martial arts. However, it wasn't. It was more of an innate talent for battle within the tribal race. In the mech, Meluxius was letting out a roar. Attack after attack was hurled towards the opponent. Since he stayed behind to be the captain of the guards for the Lan family, he had not experienced such great battle for a long period of time. There weren't much people on Tita planet who would provoke the Lan family directly. He had many strengths and skills but did not have a place to utilize them. At this moment, all these could be fully utilized. Another direct collision. Meluxius was truly surprised. Although the G6 mech was not a model known for its strength, Rara Durai was actually able to match it with his own strength when he wasn't wearing any battle armor. Moreover, Meluxius clearly knew that although it seemed that both of them were on par, if one was to just consider pure strength, Rara Durai would be even stronger than a fully activated G6 mech. The current status where they were on par was due to Meluxius fully using his battle experience to make up for the difference in strength. The atmosphere outside the stage had exploded. Everyone's face had turned red from the shouting and cheering for the side they supported. A battle between bare body and a mech was very impactful in Wang Zheng's eyes. It was no wonder the people from the commerce organizations did not dare to take action brashly. The giants of Tita were truly brave and fierce. Boom! The metal alloy blade of the G6 mech slashed downwards and outwards. At the same time, the mech jumped one step backward. Meluxius had no intentions of continuing to battle in such a way. Although it was really satisfying and manly and this had aroused his desire for battle, the victor couldn't be determined in a short period of time. Rara-Darai's eyes had turned bloodshot. He let out a huge roar and wanted to continue the assault. Meluxius' eyes flashed. His mech shook, and with his unique footwork, he turned around and executed a spiraling slash. With a sudden change in movement, Meluxius had managed to move to the right of the charging Rara-Darai. The metal alloy battle blade slashed towards the neck of Rara-Darai mercilessly. Since he couldn't compete in strength, then he would have to decide the victory with his battle techniques. With a loud growl, Rara-Darai jumped. His movements went against the law of physics as he executed actions in the air to dodge the horizontal slash of the G6 mech, following which, Meluxius's blade slashed down heavily. This move was quick as lightning and the spectators couldn't help but tremble at the ferocity of this move. Satisfying. Another round. Rara-Darai landed with both of his legs. As he tried to disperse the force, he made use of the reaction and leapt again. The floor, which could withstand a nuclear explosion, shattered. Only God would have known how strong the impact was. At this moment, there was no one who was bothered by the fact that Rara-Darai was not wearing any battle armor. This dude was just like a humanoid mech. With an explosive force, Rara-Darai leapt towards Meluxius's staggering G6 mech like a bullet. A repeated heavy blow. Clearly, this heavy blow could not be blocked. Even if one was able to block the move, the explosive force would have crushed him. Meluxius took a deep breath. As he contracted all his muscles explosively together while pushing the mech to its limits, the engine of the mech roared and the G6 seemed to be revived instantly. With an abrupt turn, his metal alloy battle blade did not take on the blow directly but was aiming for the side of the incoming attack and huge blade. Swinging his blade in the shape of a flower, the G6 mech re-established its position. However, the crazy and wild aura that was present previously had disappeared from the mech like flowing water. An imposing aura replaced it instead. At this moment, the G6 mech was just like an imposing fencer. Instantly, the raging Rara-Darai's footsteps sank. He did not rush forward aimlessly. Instinctively, he had felt an extremely dangerous atmosphere. Roar! The guards and the Lan family members let out an angry howl. Scarface Luo even raised both of his arms, shouting crazily, "Invincible blade, invincible blade, invincible blade." It was the technique that made Meluxius famous, the invincible sword. He would not use it easily. This was a fast sword attack that Meluxius was adept in. In a battle between mecha, the importance of the attacking speed was not to be discounted. This was especially so on planet Teta. How fast could one's mind, one's sword be? No matter how fast or fierce the enemies were, with invincible sword, one could attack the enemy while saving himself. This would allow him to be in position where he would never lose. To be able to become the captain of the guards of the Lan family, how could Meluxius of the Federal Republic of Manalasuo be just an ordinary guy? Rara-Darai instinctively slowed down his movement but did not stop completely. It was just that the tempo was significantly slower. Pa! Meluxius's G6 armor moved explosively and took the initiative to attack. The more imposing the sword attacks were, the shorter the time one could maintain them. It was just like a strong bow. When one pulled the bow for a long time, he would have to release it eventually. This was Meluxius's strongest attack, the invincible sword. Although its defensive capabilities were terrifying, what would be more frightening would be its attack capabilities. The mech rushed towards Rara-Darai at close to warp speed. The imposing aura of the sword had locked down every spot of Rara-Darai where he could deal a fatal blow to. Since Rara-Darai did not equip the battle armor, he would be at a huge disadvantage. With only his own strength and speed and facing such speed, even if his mind was able to respond, his body would not be fast enough to make a response. In an instant, this would be an unavoidable killing move. The battle sword took the attack directly. The invincible sword flicked gently and it was already able to stop Rara-Darai from making any more advances. However, Rara-Darai's battle sword stuck tightly to the invincible sword like a magnet. Growl. Dodging it, Rara-Darai opened his lips and revealed a set of pearly white teeth. Why should he retreat? In the face of pure strength, all the fancy moves were pointless. No matter how nice it might appear, It would dissipate with a blow. Humans who hid within the mecha were still cowards. Head on, head on, head on. Charging ahead without fear was the best way to destroy his enemies. This was what a true Tita warrior would be. All the attacks were blocked. Meluxius was fast, but Rara Durai was even faster. Boom! The G6 mech flew out and was sent rolling on the floor as it crashed to the floor. Outside the stage, the excited cheers of the humans stopped like a music player machine getting unplugged. Rara Durai raised his arms and shouted. He took a huge leap and slashed the heavy sword to sever the legs of the G6 mech. A huge defeat for Meluxius. Scarface Luo patted his thighs bitterly and said, "Damn, curse the damn Tita. If Meluxius could execute its ability X, how could anyone fend off his attacks with just strength?" Clearly, Scarface Luo was an admirer of Meluxius. Meluxius was someone with a story. He was a well-known figure within the for-hire mercenary field. Pung, the cabin crew of the G6 mech was ejected. Meluxius crawled out of it and his face had turned pale. He was a little exhausted. To maintain the aura of the invincible sword without the support of ability X was a huge drain on him. Scarface Luo rushed ahead with a group of people in the first instant. "Captain, if you could use your ability X, you would have emerged victorious long ago." A loss is a loss. There's no place for this nonsense. It was true that he wasn't able to use his ability X in the unique environment on Tita. However, his opponent for this time wasn't wearing the mobile battle armor that could boost the strength of the people of Tita. On the stage, Rara Durai was dancing. It was the thigh dance of the people of Tita and was a form of provocation. He was waiting for his next challenger to appear. Obviously, for the people of Tita, such provocations were mainly a form of ritual before the battle. Their understanding of battles was much simpler than humans, and they were just fond of battles and faith in battles. The skilled people within the Lan family didn't consist of just Meluxius. Meluxius was more of a shield against the external forces for the Lan family. On Tita, all the other ability X's were suppressed by the atmosphere created by its nearby stars and asteroids, with the exception of wind element ability X's. Wind element ability X's were not only not suppressed, but were greatly strengthened on Tita. In the Lan family, having a wind element bloodline would be similar to the Lai family's succession of the fire element on Mars. Wind element ability X in the Lan family could be considered as a form of succession. This was probably a gift from God to the first generation of explorers. Old man Lan Zhong was smiling. He knew the intentions of his old Tita friends of wanting his men to be involved. However, he did not have such intentions today. What was surprising was that Mu Sen did not approach him. Mu Sen turned around to Wang Zheng, smiled, and said, "Would this little friend be interested to experience the atmosphere of a challenge?" Wang Zheng was surprised and shook his head. He smiled and said, "I think I will pass." Although Wang Zheng was intrigued by it and was fond of such wildness, he did not feel that it was a good idea to be high profile as a guest to the Lan family. Moreover, his identity of being a soldier of the Milky Way Alliance and the fact that he had been warned previously to minimize interactions with the people of Tita had deterred him from taking up the challenge. "Little dwarf, rest assured, I will not injure you. Haha, just give it a try." The previous battle had made Rara Durai extremely alert. No matter who his opponent was, he could have a battle. If it was a skilled challenger, he would crush him without negotiations. As for the derogatory term, little dwarf, if one had to use it on a human, he wouldn't mind being the one using it to entertain the rest. The dance he was dancing to was also a form of entertainment. At this point, Mu Sen smiled again and said, "Young man, sometimes winning or losing isn't the most important. What would be more important would be courage and bravery. These are the most precious qualities of a man. Are you sure that you will not give it a try?" Wang Zheng took a look at Rara Durai, who was constantly provoking him. From the corner of his eye, he saw that Meluxius was receiving treatment. It was unclear where he was injured, but his face was covered with trails of blood. The scolding of Scarface Luo and the other guards could barely be heard. Wang Zheng really wished to experience how strong the people of Tita were. He nodded his head at Mu Senum, wanting to make his way into the stage. Suddenly, someone stopped him from the front and said, "Brat, do you really think that he will not injure you? These guys have never learned to control their strength. You do not have much muscle and yet you want to play hero. Who could we go after for the money you owe to Master Lan when the time comes? Sun Shin stared at Wang Jung intensely. Was he an idiot? He really wanted to go onto the stage? From her perspective, Mu Sen was being unreasonable and wanted the Lan family to send someone with a wind element ability X. He was just using a useless Wang Jung as an excuse. In fact, Sun Shin had misunderstood the matter. Although Mu Sen had such thoughts, for the people of Tita, the most unpredictable part of the battle power of humans would be ability X users. Although only wind element ability X users were able to use their abilities normally on Tita, the wise one still felt that it would be necessary to collect relevant information as it was an important matter that was related to the future of their tribes. However, the reason why he had chosen Wang Jung was because Wang Jung given him a very special feeling. As a wise one of Tita, his 5 senses and his extrasensory perception was different from what a normal person would imagine. The feeling Wang Jung gave him was the feeling of familiarity and closeness. This was especially unique among the humans. In the face of Sun Shin's rough attempt to stop him, Wang Jung touched his nose and said, "If I cannot beat him, I will admit defeat. You look just like a rookie soldier. I'm afraid you don't even know how to operate a mech. Stop throwing your face in front of others." Although Sun Shin was mean, she was not a bad-natured person. She was just trying to protect Lan Ling, who had asked Wang Jung to owe a girl money from her private savings. Wang Jung smiled and still made his way into the battle stage. Sun Shin's face had changed. When Wang Jung was moving, she had wanted to stop him. However, she couldn't understand why she wasn't able to stop him. This was impossible. She wasn't just the personal assistant of Lan Ling but was also her personal guard. Although she wasn't adept in mecha, her fighting ability was very strong. Based on logical reasoning, if she wanted to stop him, Wang Jung would not have made it into the stage even if he tried his best. However, Wang Jung was able to get past her easily. Although she clearly tried to move her body to stop him, unknowingly, Wang Jung was able to slide past her. When she opened her arms to attempt to stop him, he was already quite a distance away. Feeling puzzled, Sun Shin returned to the side of Lan Ling. When she returned, she heard Lan Ling said with an anxious and soft voice, "Why didn't you stop him? Did you just let him enter the stage?" Sun Shin touched her nose and said, "Miss, maybe he will not disgrace the Lan family." Sun Shin would never take Wang Jung's movement as a fluke. Although she was a little careless previously, the fact that Wang Jung could shake off her lockdown was a testament to his strength. Lan Ling blinked her eyes. Seeing Sun Shin nodding her head, she was a little excited as he looked at Wang Jung within the battle stage. At one side, 3 mecha were prepared. 3 different models: warrior type, offensive model, and a heavy tank type. From the moment Wang Jung stepped onto the edge of the battle stage, Rara Darai had stopped his provocation. The war dance was only meant for the time where he was searching for an opponent and wasn't for humiliating his opponents. At the far end, treatment of Meluxius's injuries had completed. Other than feeling a little weak, there were only probably some abrasions. Although his face was covered in blood and looked terrifying, he was fine. That brat. When he opened his eyes, he saw Wang Jung in the battle ring. He couldn't help but stand up and shout, "Is he crazy?" Scarface Luo was equally surprised. He opened his mouth and said, "Could it be that that guy is trying to take revenge for Captain? Captain, he is creating a fuss. Let me pull him out." How terrifying Rara Darai was could be seen by him even defeating the captain's invincible sword. Although Wang Jung's courage was commendable, he was throwing his life away. Scarface Luo couldn't just sit back, considering they were roommates. "It should be all right. Rara Darai is the #1 warrior of the Pool tribe. He actually showed me mercy previously." Meluxius wiped away the bloody water in his face and halted Scarface Luo with his words. A man who had decided to enter into a battle couldn't just be asked to step down. If he was to retreat today, he would not be able to raise his head up high in the future. To be called a coward for his lifetime would definitely be worse than failing in the battle and dying for a real man. Sometimes, for a man, the most important thing wasn't about just living. Moreover, the relationship between the Lan family and the Pool tribe was amicable. Rara Darai would come over to the Lan family to eat and drink each month. He would also take away a large quantity of minerals at the same time. He believed he would not kill Wang Jung. The worst it would get would be injuring him if he failed to stop in time. You're not too shabby. You have some courage. I respect those with courage. Choose your mech. I would recommend you to choose the heavy tank type mech to allow me to slash you a few more times. Rara Durai opened his mouth and raised the giant battle sword in the air, drawing countless resonating cheers from the Tita warriors. Wang Jung took a look at the three mecha. He smiled gently, shook his head, and said, I do not need to use a mech. The whole arena was speechless. This was followed by a thunderous laughter. It was the funniest joke that the people of Tita had ever heard in their life. Ha ha ha. You want a battle with me? Said Rara Durai, who was breathless from the laughing. The battle between the people Tita would be a one-on-one brawl with no forms of weapons. However, this was between giants, and a human had no say in it. Yes, said Wang Jung. Ever since he had entered the stage, Wang Jung could feel the strong life force emanating from the bodies of the giants. Once you had experienced it, you would be able to understand that the universe was truly mysterious to be able to give life to such organisms. Rara Durai laughed. Little one, what do you think this is? Rara Durai raised his huge fist and said, this is a weapon. I could flatten you like a pancake with just one punch. Ha ha ha. Instantly, the crowd burst into laughter. Since you will not be using battle armor, I will not use a mech. It's better to be fair. Wang Jung smiled as he talked about fairness. Rara Durai almost spat. Fairness? A human talking about fairness with a Tita warrior in battle? He must be crazy. Outside the battle stage, it was filled with mockery of Wang Jung. Some of them were from the people of Tita and some were from some other factions of the Lan family. The Lan family was too huge. After a few generations, the faction where Lan Ling was from had the most influence and was the one in control. As for other factions, they did not have real influence and would be delighted to witness embarrassing matters that were caused by the main faction. For example, Lan Ling had saved a man, and that man was a crazy guy. No way could it be done. Let me go drag him back, this is simply nonsense. Sun Xin was truly enraged and was going to pull Wang Jung back. However, she was stopped by Elder Mu Senator. Do not worry, Rara Durai will know when to stop. Moreover, the battle could not be stopped at this moment. Wang Jung was already in position. He raised his head and saw Rara Durai, who was almost 6 meters tall. He looked just like an unmovable mountain. Rara Durai looked at Wang Jung. Should he send him flying with a slap or flick him away lightly using his legs? It seemed that no matter what he chose, he might end up killing this little one. Should he convince him to use a mech? Wang Jung waited for a few seconds, smiled, and said, are the people of Tita such sissies? Are you really a warrior? Rara Durai's face turned red and he said, great, you could also be considered as courageous among humans, although you are a little stupid. Outside the stage, Elder Mu Sen was dumbfounded. He had not expected Wang Jung to choose not to use a mech. Roar. Durai smashed his huge palm down, wanting to crush Wang Jung into meat paste. The floor that could withstand heavy blows from a mech immediately exploded. Debris was flying everywhere. Wang Jung's footsteps remained composed as he sought opportunities while dodging. Rara Durai was furious as some of the debris hit his face while that little human was able to move around without being hit by any of the debris. This had made him even more furious. He stomped his leg fiercely at Wang Jung. He was very serious now, no longer holding back or thinking about giving face. All he wanted was to crush the little one. Seems that he really did not need a mech. Rara Durai is a good actor, this must have been staged beforehand. Tisk, that kick seemed like he really meant it. Tisk. Staged, continue this staged fight. Some of the people from the Lan family couldn't hold back and mocked. In fact, even Lan Ling was blinking and feeling a little worried, however, she felt relieved. Looking at the situation, it seemed that Rara Durai still knew that he had to hold back, although he might look like he was furious. The other Tita warriors were laughing, however, they weren't laughing at Wang Jung but at Rara Durai. A Tita warrior was brave but not cruel, and was sincere and intelligent. Rara Durai could faintly hear the mockeries by his kind from outside the stage. His face turned purple with rage and looked extremely terrifying. Ah! With a fierce roar, the muscles on him exploded in power suddenly. Instantly, more than half of those who thought Rara Darai was acting were dumbfounded. This was life outbreak. Something that a Tita warrior would do when he decided to give it his all. Under the conditions of life outbreak, their speed, reaction time, and power would increase tremendously. This was a warrior technique that only a Tita warrior could master. Facing a little human, coupled with the fact that it was a human that wasn't using a mech, the number one warrior of the Pool tribe had to use the warrior technique. Was this a joke? Even if it is staged, it shouldn't this be overboard, right? It must be, it definitely is. Just take a look at the warrior technique. No matter who it was, they would have become meat paste. Look, the speed of that brat isn't even that fast. Before the warrior technique, all he could do is to jump around like what he was doing previously. You were right, however did he have to go this far? Wasn't it that they were trying to give some face to Lan Ling? Other people had started to suspect that it wasn't just a show. It couldn't be. We are talking about the people of Tita. Moreover, he is a Tita warrior. When did they learn how to do this? Although they aren't dumb, they would not desecrate a battle. What do you know about them? You are the one who is simple-minded. However, these voices were soon lost. Wang Zheng had not thought about a direct confrontation. From the atmosphere around Rara Darai, he could roughly determine the opponent's strength. It was truly astounding, but this level was something that still couldn't beat Wang Zheng. When fighting against a powerful and large physique, a smaller assassin would be harder to deal with. This had been proven in the training with Bonehead. After having experienced enough, it was time to end it. His current physical condition was not suitable for a prolonged battle. This kick of Rara Darai was full of power, but the tempo was a little slow due to his anger. He had thought that it would not connect as with previous attacks. He had not expected that at this moment, Wang Zheng would stop. Rara Darai was delighted. He would want to definitely kick this little guy to death with this kick. He further invoked his warrior technique and maintained it. Wang Zheng moved his body slightly aside to dodge the attack. At the same time, Wang Zheng aggressively cut towards the body of Rara Darai. Looking for death, Rara Darai was exhilarated. Being attacked was the least of what he was afraid at the moment. He was annoyed by Wang Zheng, who was jumping around. Against his previous opponents, he could just sweep them aside. However, Wang Zheng had been abnormally difficult to get rid of. Roar. He retracted the leg he kicked out. With an extremely quick spin and locking down Wang Zheng's position, he swung his left hand downwards in a circle and his left hand towards Wang Zheng like a poisonous dragon. With an attack that covered all directions, he had firmly locked down on Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng let out a fierce roar and sliced in towards Darai at the speed of lightning. A simple but rough move. Leaning landslide, boom. Rara Darai's face had changed. All he could feel was an enormous force coming from his right leg. It was as though he had been kicked by a heavy tank-type mech. Without any guard and as he relaxed his waist, he could no longer maintain his battle stance and fell sideways. This little one. This human was in possession of strength that would not lose to a Tita warrior. Rara Darai let out an angry roar. With his arms to support him, he intended to flip and stand up again. At this moment, Wang Zheng leapt. Using his momentum, he stepped on Rara Darai's back and rushed to the neck area of Rara Darai. Instantly, Wang Zheng's eyes shined brightly. The primordial regression technique, which had been ready for some time, was operating at maximum capacity, with a palm hit. Boom! Rara Darai's huge body seemed to have turned into stone and he was forced to a halt at the spot. Wang Zheng turned around and jumped. Rara Darai shook a little and revealed a struggling expression. Soon, he fell to the ground. Rara Darai's eyes rolled back and he fainted. The crowd was speechless. Wasn't this staged match too professional? Wang Zheng regulated his breathing as he felt a really tense neck. More than half of the force of the explosive strike of the primordial regression technique was reflected back on him. It seemed that he had underestimated the people of Tita. Not only were they super strong, they were adept at using their muscles. This was a completely different dimension from brute strength. In other words, it could be said that Tita warriors had an extremely high battle IQ. Mu Sen and Khalifa stood up. Lan Ling and Lan Zhong also stood up. The whole crowd was silent and looked blankly at the still-standing Wang Zheng. He was able to emerge victorious. he was able to win against Rara Darai without a mech. Who was Rara Darai? The #1 warrior of the young generation of the Pool tribe. However, a small human was able to go against all odds and use his small fist to dominate the #1 warrior of the Pool tribe. He had even knocked Rara Darai out. Lan Ling, it seems that you really saved a monster. At this moment, Old Man Lan wasn't the one who was obsessed with playing. It seemed that Lan Ling was right. It was all destined to be. To survive from such an impact, it seemed that he had really offended someone. However, Wang Zheng would likely have an extraordinary background. Wang Zheng turned to Elder Mu Sen and smiled. When he wanted to return to his position, he could feel a rough breathing from his back. Wang Zheng was also a little surprised to see Rara Darai sitting up while still swaying after receiving his full attack. In the instance of the attack, he had overlapped more than 30 hand chops onto the softest spot of the opponent, and yet. Initially, Rara Darai's eyes were still sluggish. However, he soon recovered and looked at Wang Zheng with his bright eyes. He raised his right hand and clenched his fist. Did he still want to continue the fight? Wang Zheng frowned and was surprised at the recovery speed of the people of Tita. He did not hold back previously. A hand chop with full force could even bend steel, but Rara Darai's neck seemed to be perfectly fine. Little one, what great strength you have. Not too shabby. You are someone I definitely want as a friend. Ouch. Tell me how you have such great strength despite being so small in size. Rara Darai had one hand stretched in the air while the other hand was already rubbing his neck. On his face, he revealed a carefree smile. Elder Mu Sen smiled and took huge strides into the battle stage. He grabbed Wang Zheng's right arm and bumped fists with the stretched fist of Rara Darai. In my name as an elder, I bore witness to the friendship between warriors. Brat, you are now a friend of the people of Tita. Wang Zheng smiled. Since the intention was to make friends, he bumped his fist lightly. All the surrounding people of Tita let out a war cry. Subsequently, they rushed together towards Wang Zheng. However, the surrounding humans' faces had changed. This was because the term, friend, had a different meaning to friend, in human terms. To be recognized by the people of Tita had extraordinary significance. The reason behind the Lan family's infallible status was exactly because they were friends of the people of Tita. What was this about? Wang Zheng had originally tried to dodge, but seeing the smile on Elder Mu Sen, he stopped. Subsequently, he was grabbed by Rara Darai's hand that was in the hand and tossed into the sky like a ball. Every Tita warrior was shouting the same line in the language of Tita, the king of warriors. Subsequently, they would catch the falling Wang Zheng and toss him up again. After the Tita warriors repeated the cycle a few times, they suddenly found it pointless as the little one felt too light. Rara Darai blamed Wang Zheng for his weight softly and said, "Friend, are you made of feathers? You are too skinny. You have to eat more. As the victor, you have to treat me and my brothers to a meal." The surrounding giants revealed an expression that suggested this was a natural thing to do. Wang Zheng's jaw dropped. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed that it wouldn't be easy to be the friend of the people of Tita. With such huge physiques, how much they would eat. Sun Xin was very surprised. If she had. Lan Ling had walked to the side of Wang Zheng and said, "Various friends of Tita, the meal has been prepared. Please do not stand on ceremony." Lan Ling's words drew huge cheers from the giants. Even the wise ones had smiles on their faces. It seemed that they had been longing for humans' food. After the battle would naturally be a large-scale dinner. Humans had been on Tita for many years. However, in reality, both sides had clear divisions. In human cities, one would rarely see the shadows of the people of Tita. The people of Tita knew about the powers of humans. Some of the wise ones from Tita knew the Milky Way Alliance laws well, and this was the reason why they chose not to always be in conflict with the humans and had chosen the Lan family. This wasn't just because the Lan family was one of the early immigrants but also because they would want to maintain a relationship with the humans. However, the wise ones of Tita had an innate ability. They understood the nature of humans. Boundless greed. Therefore, they did not wish to walk too closely with the humans. However, with the discovery of gravity ore, this balance had been broken. The people of Tita had a great time eating. The Lan family had a clear idea on their taste and preferences, And this was the only time the people of Tita could enjoy human food to the fullest. Obviously, with their appetite, an ordinary family would not be able to afford treating them. Wang Zheng, you always surprise the people around you. Lan Ling looked at Wang Zheng with a deep stare. It was as though she had discovered a new world. When she saved Wang Zheng previously, she did not have much thoughts about it. However, she had discovered a multitude of problems subsequently. It was just that from the external appearance of Wang Zheng, he would never be considered to be a highly skilled master. She had brought Wang Zheng along to let the wise one of Tita to take a look as they had extraordinary perceptive abilities. However, the results were beyond their imagination. Wang Zheng smiled and said, I was just lucky. The strength of the Tita giant was truly frightening. If they were to equip the battle armor and weapon, it would be a tough match for the human mech. Wang Zheng was trying to change the subject. He couldn't withstand the curious looks from a girl. Lan Ling was really curious. Surprisingly, Wang Zheng was trying to hide from her sight. Could it be that people from Earth were shy? Your Skylink has been repaired. A new Skylink was handed to Wang Zheng. However, it seems that the level of security for your Skylink was extremely high. We couldn't repair it for use. This will have to wait for you to return to the Milky Way Alliance. No matter how strong a military school student was, the level of security shouldn't be so high. It was so high that the Lan family had no solution to it at all. Wang Zheng wasn't too surprised. There wasn't much to see though. It was the presence of the Genesis Coffee Club that raised the level of security of the Skylink. Repairing an SS-level Skylink would be a headache even for Aslan, moreover for the people on Tita. I tried to intercept messages on your behalf. The Milky Way Alliance has been looking for you. It seemed that it was a misunderstanding. Your transport ship seems to have transmitted an erroneous signal which resulted in the attack, said Lan Ling. Do you believe it? Wang Zheng smiled nonchalantly. There's always some lies in truth and vice versa. What plans do you have? You have won the trust of the people of Tita and I would sincerely invite you to join the Lan family, said Lan Ling. The boy, who was slightly younger than her, had an unexplainable sense of responsibilities that attracted her. Seeing that Wang Zheng did not give a reply, Lan Ling hurriedly said, not as a guard. Actually, Grandpa was just trying to protect me when he looked for you. He had said that you could be trusted. Please do not blame him for that. The situation in the Lan family is a little bit unique. The Lan family was afraid that Wang Zheng was a spy from some other faction. This was because in such an air crash, only an extremely strong person would survive, or it was a staged crash. However, after rounds of investigation, it was probably the first reason. Together with the trust of the people of Tita, this had completely removed any suspicions from Lan Zhong. Humans had been living on this planet for a long time. However, the people of Tita had kept a distance from the humans. The wise ones had said that humans were too complicated and unpredictable. To be recognized as a friend of Tita, Lan Zhong could be considered as one. Within the Lan family and in this generation, there was only Lan Ling. And this was largely because of the pact formed in the early stages of exploration between the people of Tita and the Lan family. Also, this was because of them going through both the good and bad days over the years. This trust was built over 100 years. However, Wang Zheng was accepted as soon as he arrived. This was an extremely strange thing. Wang Zheng remained silent for a moment and shook his head lightly. I still have to go back. Why? Don't you feel that would be dangerous? Lan Ling was stunned. She had not expected that Wang Zheng would reject her invitation. Rather, she had never been rejected. Rest assured, we will not bury your talents. Thank you, Lan Ling. I mean it. It's just that no matter what is waiting for me, I will still have to return. To be able to come to Tita planet and getting to know you, it was destiny. However, I still have my friends waiting for me. When he thought about Yan Xiaoshu and Yi Zisu, Wang Zheng felt warmth in his heart. Moreover, the whole incident was a little weird. Was it really the royal family of Aslan who did it? There was a real possibility, but it seemed to be too over the top. His interactions with Aina weren't just made over a few days. How likely was it that they would not know about it? To suddenly go to such great lengths for a small character like him, was it worth it? Obviously, for Aina, they had the motives to do so. However, the style of doing things wasn't similar. Moreover, if he was really dead, how would Aina respond? Moreover, if they had the intention to kill him, there would be no purpose in sending Aina to Atlantis. The intention of Aina being sent to Atlantis was to separate him and Aina, to use time and distance to solve the problem. Wang Jung faintly felt that matters weren't making sense. However, he was not in a rush, as this was something that couldn't be rushed. However, the matter could not be just left as it was. For every grievance someone is responsible, for every debt there is a debtor. If Aslan wanted to separate Aina and him, it would be inevitable. For Aina, he would just accept it. However, if someone wanted his life, no matter who she was, he would not just accept it. Wang Jung, what are you thinking about? Wang Jung returned to reality. I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. If you wanted to leave, I will not stop you. However, please remember that I am your friend too, said Lan Ling seriously. Of course, you are not just my friend, you are my benefactor. When you were recovering, could you hear what I said? Asked Lan Ling suddenly. Nope, I did not hear anything, said Wang Jung instinctively. Lan Ling's eyes widened. You heard everything? Actually, just a little, said Wang Jung embarrassedly. Lan Ling's face turned red with embarrassment and she ran off. She had told him about all her secrets and worries. This. Haha, Wang Jung, what did you say to the princess of our Lan family to scare her off? Asked Lan Zhong. Beside him were the wise ones of Tita, Mu Sen and Khalifa. Mr. Wang, would you be interested in visiting our tribe as a guest? Asked Mu Senator Khalifa, who was at his side, was also nodding his head in unison. The people of Tita are known for their passionate nature. This is especially so for the Pool tribe. What is wrong with you two old fellows to snatch my guest as soon as you arrive? Elders, you can just call me Wang Jung. If you so wish to, I would definitely follow, said Wang Jung. The two elders were taken aback and couldn't understand if Wang Jung wanted to go or not. Wang Jung is from Earth, the origin of humankind. What he just said is a commonly used term on Earth. He means that he is very willing to go, said Lan Zhong. He couldn't help but lament in his heart. As the ambassador of the Lan family and the people of Tita for over 30 years, he had received only 5 invitations. Haha, a person from the mother planet. Welcome, welcome. Mu Sen and Khalifa were both surprised and became even more passionate. They had a slight feeling that they knew about this previously. Lan Zhong knew that the two of them had misunderstood. In the eyes of the people of Tita, Earth must have had an extremely high position among the humans as it was the mother planet of humankind. However, the truth was that. However, Old Man Lan did not clarify. After all, they were on the Tita star, where Earthlings were rare. Mu Sen, you have been a little miserly to only invite Wang Jung. What about our Lan Ling? She has not gone there either. Old Man Lan, we have already invited Lan Ling. This would then be acceptable, said Lan Zhong as he nodded his head. An old man would still have a temper sometimes. The resources the Pool tribe needed had been prepared. The people of Tita had been very objective and reserved when trading for human goods. On one side, they could learn and improve themselves. At the same time, they would want to maintain the independence of their culture and not to be affected by the extravagant human culture. These were common among the strong extraterrestrial races, like the Atlanteans. However, for the people of Tita, who had a relatively backward civilization, to maintain such a concept, it was indeed rare. The people of Tita were celebrating wildly, singing and dancing. The people of Tita had great respect for battles. Achieving victories would be something joyous but wasn't the most important. This was at least the case in the Pool tribe. On the second day, the group of people from Tita had left Lankau City. The giants were the best transport tools themselves. Obviously, they had their own mode of transport. It was an organism known as Dragon Cow. Its size was approximately 4 to 5 times that of the size of a rhino on Earth. As for its temper, it seemed to be rather docile. There wasn't a lack of giant-sized organisms on Tita, so it felt just like the Jurassic period on Earth. However, it did have some fern-like plants, which although looked similar to the ones on Earth, possessed much higher energy content. The people of Tita depended mainly on plants for food. Their intake of meat wasn't very high. This was probably a result of the energy within the food that they consumed. The Lan family had been researching on it but did not have much progress on it. Civilization and succession had always been the hardest questions to answer. Wang Zheng and Lan Ling were riding on the huge dragon cow with Rara Durai at their side. Surprisingly, Sun Xin did not tag along. Wang Zheng was a little bit surprised that Lan Ling did not bring with her some followers. Mu Sen has only invited the two of us. Their invitations are different from those of humans and are carefully made. Only friends are invited. Moreover, it is only done when there were some rituals or activities, explained Lan Ling. The people of Tita are adept in speaking the human language. Lan Ling rolled her eyes at Wang Zheng and said, do not underestimate them just because they are smaller in stature. The learning ability of the people of Tita is extremely strong. They have a clear division of labor. It is just that they have their beliefs. As for you, you seem to be really powerful. I heard that there was Kung Fu on Earth. Have you learned it before? I did learn a little, mainly the superficial parts of it. Lan Ling shook her head and sighed. Clearly she was angry. Wang Zheng scratched his head as he did not know what he had done wrong. Do you think that defeating giants is an easy thing? Student Wang, who are you really? Please do not tell me that the current Earth is already at this level. Clearly, Lan Ling did not believe him. What kind of joke was this? Wang Zheng was able to defeat Rara Durai. Disregarding the fact that Rara Durai had the intention to hold back, at least his skills and courage were displayed. If all the military school students on Earth were at this level, Earth would definitely be the #1 strongest nation in the Milky Way alliance. How could they be so weak? Wang Zheng finally understood. He had no intentions to show off. However, in the eyes of Lan Ling, he was not being honest. After all, she was the life savior of Wang Zheng. My biggest weakness is that I am too humble. I am a military school student, but I am also the #1 in the Solar System Federal Military Alliance. Within the entire Milky Way, entering the top 3 shouldn't be too much of a problem. Defeating a giant wasn't an easy task. That is the reason why I was dispatched to this place, said Wang Zheng with a smile. Brag, continued to brag. Be careful that you don't blow the dragon cow away. Lan Ling could not hold back her laughter. This dude was either overly humble or overly arrogant. What could be so powerful as to blow the dragon cow away? Asked Rara Durai curiously. Wang Zheng and Lan Ling were taken aback. They could not hold it back and started laughing, leaving Rara Durai puzzled. The human language was truly complicated. The Pool tribe were among those that were pro-humans. They were very willing to learn and understand humanity. After all, humanity had come so far today and was the de facto ruler of the Milky Way Alliance. Their strength was beyond a doubt. Obviously, the people from Tita were warriors and would not succumb to any forms of suppression. As compared to enemies, they were more willing to make friends. Seeing that Lan Ling did not believe him, Wang Zheng could only shake his head. He knew that no one would have believed him even when he spoke the truth. Honestly speaking, he had no regrets with regard to the IG. As for Aina, this wasn't even a question. A man should have a sense of responsibility. Looking at the beautiful scenery, Wang Zheng did not know how he could feel relaxed all of a sudden, and this was a great feeling. He had the urge to scream at the top of his lungs. It is really beautiful here. Within the Milky Way Alliance, there are few planets with such natural sights. As he followed the group, Wang Zheng could feel that the Yuan Qi inside him was getting stronger. The effectiveness of the circulation of YJR primordial regression technique was clearly rising. Every single cell of his was in a joyous state. This place had the strongest concentration of Yuan Qi that Wang Zheng had ever felt. This was a mysterious world that nurtured life, and it was no wonder it could give life to the people of Tita. That is a given. The Lan family has focused on retaining the original looks of this place even as we pushed for development. We love this place, said Lan Ling as she opened her arms and breathed in the fresh air. Have you not thought of exploring other areas? Asked Wang Zheng. You are just a little older than me. Obviously I would go, but I feel that there would be no other place better than here. This is where my home is. Wang Zheng nodded his head. Truly, there would be no other place better than home. At night, Wang Zheng and Lan Ling stayed in a tent. However, this tent was provided by the Lan family. Convenient tools like these were well received by the people of Tita. Wang Zheng could not fall asleep and walked out alone. The sky was decorated with countless stars. giants weren't fond of tents. They preferred to be in contact with the earth. However, the wise ones were more willing to use those tents. As he extended his arms, he could feel that all of his pores were opening. Although his injuries were better, the recovery of Yuan Qi hadn't been as quick. He had originally expected to take another month. However, it would seem that another week would be enough. As the group continued to progress, the Yuan Qi was even more abundant. It seemed that the location of the tribes would be much better than a human city. They sure knew how to choose their lucky spot. At this moment, there were sounds of footsteps. Rara Darai sat beside Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng asked, "Weren't you going to sleep?" "Yeah, but why do you have such great strength? What does the earth look like?" Although Rara Darai felt that he was too direct, but he was still very curious about Wang Zheng's strength. When they learned that Wang Zheng came from the planet where mankind originated from, the people from Tita were curious about Wang Zheng. What kind of place had given birth to the noble culture of mankind? "Earth is my home. It's a really beautiful place." Wang Zheng had wanted to add once, the current Earth could not compete with the past. There were still a lot of places where there were trails of overdevelopment. To fully restore the place would be extremely difficult. Rara Darai nodded his head and said, "The elders said that you are very special. I felt the same way too. However, if we were to fight again, I would definitely win." Clearly, the #1 warrior from the Pool tribe was still not convinced. Wang Zheng smiled and said, "Even if we were to fight again, you would still be no match for me." "Impossible. I was careless last time. My strength is greater than yours," said Rara Darai defiantly. "Is that so? Do you want to give it a try again?" said Wang Zheng with a smile. "Could we really do it? The elders would not allow me to challenge a human," said Rara Darai hesitantly. "Actually, I also want to compete with you. There were too many people the last time. I guessed you weren't able to fully display your abilities. Rest assured, I am actually very strong," said Wang Zheng. "Haha, that's great. Let me bring you to a place. I'm familiar with this place. However, if you lose, you cannot complain to the elders. I would be punished for it," said Rara Darai. "Rest assured. However, it would be difficult to win against me. Did you forget that I am from Earth? The origin of mankind? I have some mysterious strengths," remarked Wang Zheng with a smile. He suddenly felt like boasting in front of this huge dude. Rara Darai nodded his head seriously and said, "That's true. The elders had said that there would always be a noble existence at the origin of any civilization. These are gifts from gods. However, I will not lose. I am a descendant of Titan and possess noble strength." "Oh, you are a descendant of Titan?" asked Wang Zheng curiously. Rara Darai shook his head. He placed Wang Zheng on his shoulders. This allowed them to move a little quicker. "We are the people from Tita. Titan is our god. Legend has it that when the people of Tita faced a catastrophe, the Titan would appear." Wang Zheng smiled. "God?" However, the civilization of Tita was a little primitive, and believing in gods could be considered to be normal. The two of them walked for a while and came to a large piece of empty land. Rara Darai let Wang Zheng down. "How are we going to compete?" asked Rara Darai. Wang Zheng warmed up his muscles a bit. It was great that there would be no interference from the outside. "I would like to test your strength. Give me a punch as a test first." Rara Darai was taken aback and shook his head vigorously. "This wouldn't be good. I could kill you in a punch." Although he had lost the previous time, Wang Zheng wasn't willing to take his attacks head-on. There would be no way he could compete in strength. "Rest assured. You can hold back some of your strength. Hit me and let me test your strength. You should have an idea about the strength of the strike I hit you with," said Wang Zheng with a smile. Rara Darai thought about it, and this was why he refused to accept it. "All right, I shall be making my move. Be prepared." Wang Zheng regulated his breathing. The primordial regression technique started to circulate. He raised both of his arms apart and bended them slightly. Instantly, Rara Darai could feel that his hairs were standing. He could feel a sense of danger just like when he was facing a dragon beast. A huge fist descended from the sky and slammed towards Wang Zheng. Rara Darai had only used 50% of his strength. Boom! The floor exploded and Wang Zheng sank in. He would have sunk in fully if not for the good angle he had used to disperse the strength. It was truly a satisfying hit. Rara Darai was dumbfounded. Although it was only 50% of his strength, for the small human physique where one could get crushed easily, surprisingly, Wang Jung was able to take it. Wang Jung moved his arms and said, "All right, next time you have to put in all your strength. You are not allowed to hold back." This was a great opportunity to understand the strength of someone from Tita, as it was hard to get Rara Darai to be so cooperative. For Wang Jung, once he could understand the actual situation, with his battle techniques, he would have everything under his control. Rara Darai took 2 steps backwards. Clearly, Tita giants were very honest and frank. Since he wanted to use all his strength, he would have to use all his strength. Wang Jung could not afford to be careless, so he focused all his attention. From the perspective of power alone, he would definitely not be able to compete with Rara Darai. However, in terms of technical force, it was a different matter. However, Wang Jung really wanted to test out his pure strength. Roar! A thunderous roar exploded. Rara Darai was just like a beast as he smashed his fist across. Boom! Wang Jung's body shook violently. His clothes exploded and his body reacted as though he was struck by lightning. With a palm attack, boom! The airflow exploded and debris filled the sky. The floor had completely crumbled. If all the force was dispersed onto the ground, Wang Jung would be like a nail smashed diagonally into the ground. However, the ground had only crumbled. This would mean that Wang Jung's body had received most of the blow, with the remaining force shattering the floor. At this moment, Wang Jung took a deep breath. His defenses exploded as he inhaled for the second time. He opened his right palm and constricted his left arm. Rise! Rara Darai's huge body was tossed into the sky. Boom! Rara Darai fell but got up quickly. Wang Jung could feel that his arms were going numb. What terrifying strength! This was the first time he had encountered such a monster since he started learning the primordial regression technique. However, what Wang Jung did not know was that in the eyes of Rara Darai, Wang Jung was the real monster. "Let continue," shouted Wang Jung. Rara Darai pouted and pounced forward. Instantly, Wang Jung moved aside, causing Rara Darai to miss. At this time, Wang Jung was already in the air and spinning in midair. Boom, 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 boom. As he landed with a reverse somersault, Rara Darai's huge body was sent flying. Swallow-style 8 steps kick. Once Wang Jung landed, he immediately rushed ahead like a lightning bolt. It was as though an artillery shell had hit Rara Darai. Boom! Rara Darai's huge body was sent flying over 70 to 80 meters and only stopped when he smashed into a huge tree. Rara Darai wanted to stand up immediately, but as his body swayed, he fell down. He could only take in huge breaths as his huge, round eyes could not believe what had happened. Wang Jung was speechless too. His set of attacks could be considered seamless. With his body's current condition, he could only execute one set of attacks. But, surprisingly, his opponent was all right. This was entirely because of the endurance of the bodies of the people of Tita. It was no wonder they could fight a mech with their bodies. If they were to equip their specially made battle armor, everyone would be a monster. Both of them were in awe. After resting for 2 minutes, Rara Darai finally sat up. "What's the matter? Surprisingly, I could not defeat you." Wang Jung smiled and replied, "That was a cultivation technique of the humans. A very long time ago, this was how humans battled. Do you want to learn it?" Suddenly, Wang Jung wished to know what a giant would become if they learned such cultivation techniques. He liked the giant's honesty and the feeling of being one with the nature. "I can learn it," Rara Darai pointed at himself, revealing an unbelievable look. "Yes, you can, and I believe that if you can master it, you will become even stronger," replied Wang Jung with a smile. It was hard to imagine how terrifying it would be if a fierce and brave giant was to master this cultivation technique. They would no longer need the techniques to raise their strength. All they would have to master was how to use their strength in the most effective way. The battle between the people of Tita was more of a clash of innate abilities. The most they would get would be a summary from the elders. When compared with the cultivation techniques of humans, even using weapons would give a large increase in strength. They were too gifted when it came to natural gifts. Tita warriors respected the strong the most. Rara Darai was already totally admiring Wang Jung. If Wang Jung was as huge as him, wouldn't he just need a finger to crush him? This was the reasoning Rara Darai had. However, Wang Jung would never be able to become so huge. Rara Darai respectfully kneeled on the floor and said, Ada, please accept 3 bows from me. Rara Darai is willing to become your disciple, to follow you forever till the end of my life. As he completed his words, he made 3 kowtows to Wang Jung. He even caused a huge dent on the floor with his kowtows. In the world of the people of Tita, Ada was synonymous with master and supreme elder. They would impart life skills and the ways of battle. This was the noblest thing. The wise ones would have a successor for their intelligence. However, even the noblest wise one would not be able to defeat the weakest giant in a battle. Humans had the same kind of intelligence. However, there was a human who was able to defeat him without the use of any weapons, without any hard and solid metal husks. If he were to tell others, no one would believe him. Rara Darai believed that Wang Jung wasn't an ordinary human. He had to be a warrior from the origin of humans, a legendary existence. Initially, Wang Jung had only intended to give some pointers to the other party. He had not expected Rara Darai to show such respect and go through the rituals. This was just too frank and honest of him. Let's get up. I will do what I can. How much you can understand will be dependent on yourself. Wang Jung did not know if he should laugh or cry. However, if he were to reject it, it would seem that he was kidding. He would just follow the traditions of this place. He would not remain here forever anyway. Heavy footsteps could be heard coming towards them. It was a sign that giants were approaching. Rara Darai patted his head and said, Ah, Ada, we must have disturbed the others. As he completed his sentence, he placed his hands on the floor. Wang Jung walked up, and Rara Darai softly placed Wang Jung on his shoulders. Soon, Mu Sen and 3 giants appeared. Rara Darai, what were you doing here? Wang Jung is our respected friend. I said that you are not allowed to mess around, said Mu Sen with a serious expression. Dear Elder Mu Sen, it was me who requested for a spar with him. I'm sorry about it. I was not aware of your rules, said Wang Jung. When Mu Sen saw that Wang Jung was fine, he was able to heave a sigh of relief. It seemed that the 2 of them did not actually fight. Elder Mu Sen, I have made Wang Jung my Ada. I will follow and learn from him. I will definitely make the Pool tribe proud, said Rara Darai delightedly. You. What did you say? Mu Sen was dumbfounded. The other 3 giants were stunned too. Ada was equivalent to elder, equivalent to master. This elder, Ada could easily defeat me. I was thrashed by him moments ago. Haha, Ada is going to impart to me the cultivation techniques from Earth. Rara Darai was exhilarated and was dancing like a child. Mu Sen was stunned. He couldn't believe that Wang Jung could defeat Rara Darai again. However, Rara Darai would likely not lie about it. Moreover, if it was not a total defeat, to the point where he could not retaliate, Rara Darai would never behave this way. This was truly unbelievable. Could it be that this was the mystery behind the origin of humans? And Wang Jung, a warrior from the origin of humans, would be imparting the techniques of humans to other races? Mu Sen signaled and the giants put him down. Wang Jung also jumped down. Hey, friend, a huge thank you for your broad breadth of mind and the boundless friendship just like the sea, said Mu Sen seriously. In Mu Sen's view, these techniques were the greatest treasures of humans. And Wang Jung was willing to teach it to them. This was simply too valuable. Elder, you are being too courteous. I have great affinity with Rara Darai. Elder, I will follow Ada and learn well. I will not disgrace the name of warriors from the Pool tribe, Rara Darai said seriously, despite the fact that the surrounding giants still found it hard to believe. Winning and losing did not mean anything. Even if Wang Jung was able to win a match by chance, this was nothing in the eyes of the giants. They did not find anything impressive. But Wang Jung was able to easily take on an all-out attack by Rara Darai. This was too impactful for Rara Darai. In his eyes, the composure Wang Jung had demonstrated was a sign that he had only used a portion of his strength. Wang Jung was mysterious and noble in his eyes. Unknown to him, Student Want was feeling numbness in his arms and legs moments ago. It was just that he wasn't showing it. Obviously, from a cultivation technique standpoint, Wang Jung was more than capable of being the master of Rara Darai. The other giants were puzzled. With regards to this preposterous decision, the elders did not object to it and were even supportive of it. The giants could not understand the elders, however, they could not question it either, as the position of the wise ones was very high. Moreover, Mu Sen was one of the 8 great elders of the Tita tribe, which was much higher than Khalifa. The small fuss in the night had calmed down quickly. In the day, they continued their trip. Lan Ling was feeling especially curious. When she found out that Wang Zheng had become the Ada of Rara Darai and Rara Darai was like some happy, silly man, Lan Ling was a little confused. I was just giving him some pointers. Does everyone have to make such a big fuss out of it? Said Wang Zheng with a smile. Girls were always fond of being surprised at everything. Do you know the meaning of Ada? Yeah, I do. It should be equivalent to our master, replied Wang Zheng without giving it much thought. He was surprised that giving pointers to others could earn him the title of master. Lan Ling really wanted to give Wang Zheng a kick. How could this person be so nonchalant with everything? Ada is an equivalent of a master. However, do you know what the masters of the people of Ada can do? What can they do? You could ask Rara Darai to die and he would immediately do so, said Lan Ling. Cough, cough. It can't be so exaggerated. Wang Zheng choked on the water he was drinking. I am curious as to how you bluffed him. I am even more curious about why Elder Mu Sen would agree to it, said Lan Ling as she examined Wang Zheng from head to toe. Her eyes seemed to be stripping Wang Zheng naked, making Wang Zheng feel uncomfortable. What do you really do for a living? I'm a student. A real one, Wang Zheng said helplessly. Since Wang Zheng had become the Ada of Rara Darai, the giants weren't just friendly, but also respectful. He had transformed from a guest to a distinguished guest. After all, Rara Darai was the #1 warrior in Pool tribe. Even Lan Ling's treatment toward Wang Zheng became more proper. In the day, the group would be trying to cover more distance. When it was night, Wang Zheng would bring Rara Darai for personal training. Wang Zheng did not waste any time. This was because after just 3 days, he had noticed that the amount of Yuan Qi around here was beyond imagination. It had reached the stage where it was surprising. He could finally understand how Tita could help nurture such strong warriors. The saturation of Yuan Qi here was as though they were in heaven. However, the saturation of the Yuan Qi wasn't similar to that on Earth, which was balanced towards the 5 elements. Instead, it was inclined towards the wood element. Using the words of Bonehead, this would be known as the wind element of earth, sea, fire, wind, and space. Using the theory of charcoal, it would be the wood element of metal, wood, water, fire, earth. One couldn't say which theory was more correct, or whether it could be applied to various environments and stages. From the current situation, it would seem that the wood and charcoal's theory would be more suitable. The wood element symbolized life, and at the same time, it also symbolized wind, electricity, thunder. Suddenly, Wang Zheng felt that he had managed to understand a lot, and he was greatly satisfied with it. This strange feeling made Wang Zheng feel joyous for half a day because this was a sign that he would be achieving a breakthrough soon. Charcoal was different from Bonehead. Bonehead couldn't wait to impart everything he knew to Wang Zheng. As for Charcoal, he was a little silly and would want Wang Zheng to achieve enlightenment on his own most of the time. The only pitiful thing was that Wang Zheng was really interested in learning more about spiritual power. However, Charcoal wasn't able to help him in this aspect. The primordial regression technique could help to raise one's spiritual power, but it was mainly used in physical battles. Wang Zheng had always felt that he was lacking in something. However, it could also be because he had not reached the realm yet. Perhaps if he could achieve a breakthrough, he could further control spiritual power. Hopefully, he would at least be able to control his own ability X and have complete micro-control. This would significantly increase his battle abilities. In the battle with Bordia, he was able to understand quite a lot about spiritual demolition, spiritual imprint, and imprint removal. However, practically speaking, with respect to the techniques, Wang Zheng was not far from Bordia. On the other hand, his understanding and battle experiences with Mecha was much higher than Bordia's, allowing Wang Zheng to achieve a victory in the end. Deep inside his mind, Bordia had not placed Wang Zheng at the same level as him. If they were to battle again, Wang Zheng would not know how it would turn out. There was also Olivius to consider. If there was disappointment from the IG, it would be to not be able to have a battle with Olivius. They should be similar types of people, and Olivius must have felt the same type of disappointment. During the trip, Wang Jung was spending most of his time with Rara Durai. Towards the end, Wang Jung decided to just sit on the shoulders of Rara Durai. Giants did not have a strong sense of curiosity in the first place. However, Rara Durai was able to find out more about Wang Jung by asking a lot of questions. His notion of the world had almost completely flipped over, and he couldn't understand why he would be defeated by such a small-sized Ada. He desired such strength to make himself stronger. Just like the wise ones would pursue intelligence, giants pursuing strength was also innate to them. Lan Ling had no option but to accept the truth that she had been abandoned. A single man with an unmarried woman traveling together would have a great opportunity to develop a relationship. She would not have wasted such opportunities if she was a guy. Could it be that she had zero charm? Wang Jung was fonder of being together with the giants. This was beyond her expectations. Initially, there were some objections within the Lan family when they learned that Wang Jung and Lan Ling would be traveling together. They felt that it was inappropriate. Lan Ling had to go against all objections and critiques as it was rare to receive an invitation from the people of Tita. She would definitely want to go on this trip. Mu Sen knew he couldn't be neglecting his distinguished guest. "Is it really boring to have a chat with an old man like me?" said Mu Sen teasingly. He took a look at Wang Jung and Rara Durai, who were walking at the front. The two of them were having a good time chatting, and Rara Durai was even nodding his head from time to time. "How could that be? I would like to learn from Elder," Lan Ling replied with a smile. "Haha, I would not doubt that. Are you curious about why I would allow Wang Jung to tag along?" asked Mu Sen suddenly. Lan Ling was slightly taken aback. "Yeah, I am really curious about it. I know that the people of Tita have been keeping a distance from the humans. The Lan family is a little special. Why would you have such high regard for him?" Lan Ling did not feel that it was because Wang Jung had defeated Rara Durai. This would not have amount to anything and would not be enough to attract the attention of the wise ones. When we look at humans, we use a different perspective from the humans. Wang Jung is very similar to us. Lan Ling was stunned. Very similar? Wang Jung was from Earth, a typical human. How would he be similar to the people of Tita? Mu Sen smiled gently and said, "The people of Tita emphasize on being one with the nature. Humans place more emphasis on being in control and controlling oneself. However, Wang Jung is similar to us, and he is one with the nature too." Mu Sen said this in a mysterious way, making Lan Ling confused. This was inevitable. In the early years of humankind, there was no lack of people who aimed to become one with nature. However, these people had died off in the age where there had been great technological advancement. Cultivation of one's inner self and the traditions had gradually diminished. In the solar system, these perspectives would still be easily understandable. However, on other planets, those where the later immigrants were the majority, such perspectives would be incomprehensible to them. However, isn't allowing Wang Jung to become the Ada of Rara Durai a little too much? Asked Lan Ling with a smile. Being friendly with the Lan family was because the wise ones recognized the need to have communication with the humans. However, this wasn't the case for Wang Jung. That was Rara Durai's own decision. I respect him. Humans have their own viewpoints. The people of Tita also have our own judgment. There's no doubt that life is precious, but trust is even more important. Some things will be proven with time. Lan Ling had never expected Mu Sen to have such a high regard for Wang Jung and did not attempt to rebuttal. After all, the people of Tita weren't humans. In the world of humans, personal strength was not as important as influence and being in control. However, Lan Ling did not dislike it. This was because the relationship between the people of Tita was simple and pure. Love, hate, glory, battle, etc. Ada, are you saying that we do not need to put in all our strength in a battle? If we do not use our full strength, how could we defeat the opponent? Rara Durai felt that it was impossible. Wang Jung smiled and simply said, use approximately 70% of your strength in the first punch. The remaining 30% of your strength isn't supposed to be held back, it has to be in ready. This 30% could be used in varying your attacks, to be used in your follow-up attack or defense. In other words, you have more combinations and choices than your opponent. But couldn't I just defeat him with my full strength? Hee, could you defeat all your opponents in a single strike? Rara Darai scratched his head and said, that is not possible. Although I am strong within the Pool tribe, there are many other strong warriors in various tribes. The Pool tribe is not known for its strength. Wang Zheng was feeling a little dizzy. Although Rara Darai was already so strong, his tribe was not known for its strength. How strong would a tribe known for their strength be? This is only the concept. You could think about it more later. As for the actual use of it, I will show it to you through practice. Also, I want to impart to you a killer move. Killer move. It means an ultimate move for a one-hit KO with your situation. If you were to master it, I'm afraid no one would be able to block it. What it means to use your full strength is that once you use it, you have to defeat your opponent. At that moment, it wouldn't be 70% of your strength, but 120% of your strength. It would be to charge ahead with no fear of death and be reborn with victory. Ada, I want to learn it. I like one-hit KO moves. Rara Darai opened his big mouth. He was delighted even before learning it. Wang Zheng also smiled. This was because what he would like to teach Rara Darai was the leaning landslide. With Rara Darai's strength and size, it would definitely be a real leaning landslide. This move was made for a giant, elder Mu Sen. The current situation is a little delicate. The Lan family has been trying our best to communicate. You know about the complexity and extensity of the human world. However, I would like to ask for your dear tribe to remain restrained and not allow the other party to get hold of anything that would be disadvantageous to you. We had assessed the strengths of the Commerce Organization. They are not on par with us. Lan Ling smiled and said, what you have seen is just the tip of the iceberg. Although the unique environment of Tita places many restrictions on their battle strength, the Commerce Organization's alliance is too huge. Their strength could easily destroy a planet. The reason they are not doing so is because of the constitution of the Milky Way Alliance. I know that the people of Tita aren't afraid of battle or dying, but your goals are the same as ours, the Lan family. We want to protect this beautiful planet. Obviously, there will be a time when we should be tough. I know that dear elder understands this very clearly. Mu Sen nodded his head and said, all I can do is try my best. Not every single person of Tita is willing to do so. Some of them aren't looking that far ahead. Mu Sen and the Pool tribe knew the humans well and therefore were clear about the ambitions and fearsomeness of humans. This race should have been exterminated quickly. However, they had used a set of rules to bind themselves and were able to achieve developments in a strange way. However, some of the people of Tita failed to recognize it. They weren't afraid of battle, and some even wanted to battle them. For a long time, Mu Sen had tried to understand the world of humans through different ways. However, the more he learned, the more terrified he became. The only possible solution might be to enter the Milky Way Alliance as soon as possible so that the Tita Star could receive better protection and allow them to go beyond the Tita Star. Lan Ling did not disrupt Mu Sen's thoughts. She gently touched her silky hair, which had become messy because of the wind. She knew about the dilemma Elder Mu Sen was facing and the internal conflict within the people of Tita. This had made it hard for him to do anything. It was hard to convince a conservative race to make the step for change. For the massive Milky Way Alliance, this wasn't something that would bother them. The Lan family had great influence on the Tita Star but had little influence in the Milky Way Alliance. However, the Tita Star had the potential to become an important force in the Milky Way Alliance. They had terrifying resources for tourism, and the mineral mines were like a gold mine waiting to be developed. The only different aspect was that planet Tita was similar to a world built on a gold mine. Once it entered a stage of disciplined excavation, it would definitely become a force to be reckoned with. This was something that the Lan family knew more clearly than the Commerce Organization. However, this was highly confidential as the benefits involved were too huge and would attract different powers that would exterminate the Lan family or even planet Tita. Looking at the carefree figures of Wang Zheng and Rara Darai, who were in front of them, Lan Ling suddenly was envious of them. That was a life that she desired, but when could she achieve it? Suddenly, a fruit was thrown towards her and accurately landed in her hand. Wang Zheng was standing on the shoulders of Rara Darai. He waved and shouted, "Try it, it's delicious, it's definitely natural without harm." Lan Ling smiled and said, "It seems that the guest has been more hardworking than the host." I understood something today. Oh, what did you realize? The higher you stand, the further you can see. The crowd burst into laughter. Sometimes, Wang Jung could be cute when he was acting silly. Lan Ling suddenly felt relieved. There was no doubt that Wang Jung had many things that were bothering him, however, he was able to let them go. This was something that she had to learn from him. She would eventually have to face and solve these matters, however, she had to continue with her life. This was for living, and not just living it. Wang Jung, I would like to stand tall and look far ahead. Rara, please pick up Lan Ling. Yes, Ada. Rara Darai walked over. He stretched his huge hand and placed Lan Ling on the other shoulder. Clearly, this was the first time Lan Ling had had such an experience, and she almost fell off. This was something new to her, even though she was terrified. Mu Sen looked from afar at the playful teenagers and revealed a smile. There were also a friendly side to the humans. He could only hope that everything would go on smoothly. Far away, on Earth, Yan Xiaoshu and Yi Zisu had returned to their ordinary school life. They had wanted to contact Wang Jung but realized that the files of the members of the IG had become classified. Wang Jung, who had one of the most brilliant performances, had been tasked with greater responsibilities. The King Company had entered maturity. Xiao Fei and her team did not waste any time and had attracted more talents to join them. The project that she was heading had become the most famous project in the solar system and had attracted the attention of more companies. However, this project was not lacking in monetary support but was waiting for the technology to be applied for practical use. This process could be long or short, but no one had any idea when it would come to fruition. Once it succeeded, it would have the greatest influence within the Milky Way Alliance. As Wang Jung and Xiao Fei were members of the universe's Genesis Coffee Club, they were able to obtain some conveniences in certain aspects. The connections of the club within the scientific realm was beyond anyone and allowed them to have smoother progress in their research. OMG could also be considered to be outstanding. OMG had achieved great success with their mecha and their investment in the King Company. This had allowed Yi Bingwen to become the Person of the Year, which was published on the front page of the Milky Way Alliance Time magazine. This was something rare on Earth. The large sales figures of the Hercules mech had given OMG great confidence. This model was practical, durable, and affordable. This had made it to be very popular among the third-rated countries. This was achieved without much additional efforts in advertising. The best advertisement was by Wang Jung's usage and display of it during the IG. Besides that, the Wind God mech, which targeted the high-end market, had entered volume production. This model, which had its own character and its extreme mobility, had been well received by various countries, among which would include Aslan. Although the amount they had purchased was not large, the fact that they had purchased it had greatly increased OMG's brand value and had propelled the high-speed development of OMG. Yi Bingwen had also officially entered the race to become a committee member of the Solar System Federation so as to secure the future developmental pathway for OMG through his support from various representatives. The probability of him attaining it was extremely high. Other than Yi Bingwen, Solon of CT had also entered the race. OMG was the biggest sponsor of the CT organization now. Similarly, CT had provided the greatest advertisement for OMG previously. The solar system branch of CT wasn't able to attract anyone's attention with no glamorous performances. However, it was different now. Its popularity was easily within the top 10 in the Milky Way Alliance, and the level of skill had increased significantly. With Prince as the leader of the group of professional players, they were able to consistently deliver great performances in various major competitions. This was a case of a win-win situation. Solon was also not the same as before. After reaching his position, it would be difficult to continue being promoted. He would have to think about making other changes, and becoming a committee member of the Solar System Federation would be part of the process. Yi Bingwen and Wang Jung weren't close. This was the same for Solon and Wang Jung. However, one could say that the two were also kind of close. Wang Jung and Yi Zisu were reliable, great friends, while Solon had reached his position with the performance of Skeleton. Therefore, Wang Jung had provided them the same bridges and opportunities for co-development. When a company had reached a certain scale, they would need to have a voice, or the consequences could be dire. This was also something that Yi Bingwen had to do. No matter if it was he or Solon, The principle behind it was the same. It would be hard to remain alone, and they were greatly in need of allies. Their competitors would not be courteous with them. To sum it up, the great performance during the IG had allowed OMG to build up its capital and allow the whole process to be much smoother. The adults were busy with their matters. Yi Zisou would not need to be worried over it. After her classes, Yi Zisou sat on the long benches in the campus alone. She looked quietly at the sky while maintaining a faint smile throughout. What was Wang Zheng doing? The moment when Aina rushed forward seemed to have happened only yesterday. In fact, she was only a little slower. However, only Aina could have rushed forward, and she would have had to stop. It was just that there was no news on Wang Zheng since the IG. Although Meng Tian and the rest had their own missions and it wasn't convenient to keep in contact, there were still some news on them. The Titan star was said to be a rather backward planet. Barbarians were living on it, and they could be ruthless and consume humans. Yi Zisou was a little worried. The declaration of love by Aina was in vain. There wasn't any news on it. There wasn't even any gossip that had spread, and it seemed too abnormal. Aina had gone to the Republic of Atlantis. Rumor had it that she was just moving her schedule ahead. However, one would expect it to be because the royal family would want to separate them. Yi Zisou was more worried about Wang Zheng's safety on the Titan star. That planet was simply too far away. It also seemed that there was a restriction on communications in the past 2 days. How could they send Wang Zheng to such a dangerous area? Yi Zisou was a little worried, but the clouds in the sky seemed to have transformed into the smiling face of Wang Zheng, which seemed like it deserved a beating. It seemed a little shameless but also looked fearless. Yi Zisou stood up and tidied her clothing. She believed that no matter where it was, Wang Zheng would still be a talent. All the best. Yi Zisou was living in her own world and did not pay any attention to the people around her. That was too beautiful. It would be great if I could be her boyfriend. Stop dreaming. No matter where she went, Yi Zisou would be able to attract a crowd of fans. The title of genius designer was clearly better than just a pure, beautiful look in the college. The popularity of the wind god had resulted in the name of Yi Zisou to become well known. Coupled with the fact that she was from a prominent family, Yi Zisou and Xiao Fei were no doubt the jewels of the school. The only difference was that one of them was a student, while the other was a teacher. Moreover, rumors had it that they had a close relationship and were best friends. Far away on Tita, Wang Zheng and the group had arrived at the Pool Tribe. Although Wang Zheng was mentally prepared, he was still mesmerized by the beautiful natural environment. At the same time, he could feel the highly concentrated yuan qi around here. It seemed as though he was totally submerged within the yuan qi. Lan Ling was only able to feel refreshed and nothing more. However, Wang Zheng knew that the primordial regression technique made him highly sensitive to the surrounding environment. It would seem that he could recover very soon, and he would be able to achieve a significant increase in his abilities. During the trip, Rara Darai's admiration for Wang Zheng had reached a peak. Giants had high cognitive abilities, and this had helped reduce the amount of challenges for Wang Zheng. It was at least the case for Rara Darai. There were some battle techniques that Rara Darai was able to internalize and make adjustments to according to his body size after Wang Zheng had demonstrated a few times. One could only say that Rara Darai was a genius in battle. However, Rara Darai hanging around with Wang Zheng for the whole day was a little different from the norm. This was especially so when Rara Darai made a human his Ada, causing the giants to have certain opinions of him. Some of the giants saw this as Rara Darai losing his courage and pride as a giant. If it wasn't because of the fact that Rara Darai had just won the Battle of the Warriors, there would likely be some giants who would have challenged him. However, this had also resulted in other giants maintaining a distance from Rara Darai. Rara Darai did not mind it, as he was completely immersed in his atmosphere of learning. Wang Zheng and Lan Ling would be living in the residence of the Wise Ones. The residence of the Wise Ones included skillfully crafted wooden houses and natural tree holes. On the other hand, the giants lived in stone caves or platforms with a semi-open concept. Their bodies were clearly very strong. Dear guests, you all must be tired from the trip. Please rest well and we will bring you around the Pool Tribe tomorrow, said Khalifa. If there are any other matters, you could look for Lulu. She is my daughter. At this moment, a little girl walked over. Her physique was only slightly over a meter tall, but she had huge, lively-looking eyes. She had some pink marks over her face and looked different from the wise ones, who had wrinkles over their faces. "Hi, Lulu," said Lan Ling with a smile as she extended her hand. Lulu shook her hand softly, but she clearly seemed more interested in Wang Zheng. When Khalifa left, Lulu could no longer hold back and asked, "So you are the human who tricked the #1 warrior of our tribe?" Wang Zheng was stunned but soon thought of Rara Darai. "I wouldn't think that this would be considered trickery. You looked so weak and small. How could you be the Ada of Rara Darai? You must have some evil plans. I will not let you get away with it." After completing her sentence, the little brat ran out. Lan Ling smiled and said, "It seems that Lulu likes Rara Darai." Wang Zheng was dumbfounded. Clearly, Lan Ling knew what Wang Zheng was thinking. You can't use the viewpoints of a human to try to understand the people of Tita. Cough, cough. I was just curious, replied Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng also felt that this wasn't a topic that was suitable to continue on. It was too ***. I'm going to rest. Call me if there's anything. Don't run around or start anything. Not everyone on Tita welcomes us, reminded Lan Ling. Wang Zheng nodded and laid flat on the bed. He relaxed his body, and his body was able to become one with the environment easily. At other places, he would always require some time to enter such a state, however, he could achieve it as he wished over here. Rara Darai was still excited. He finally found a suitable mountain. During the trip, the group would always hear large, clashing sounds during the night. It was Rara Darai punching the trees. However, a usual tree would not be able to take much of his blows. Leaning landslide was a killer move that required the usage of 120% of one's strength. This was also the case during training, and one must use their full strength. At the same time, one would have to pay attention to his aura even when it was a decoy move. If one could complete everything in a seamless sequence, they would have mastered it. Previously, Wang Zheng wasn't fond of such a self-mutilating method of training. However, Rara Darai was the opposite of him and greatly enjoyed it. Rara Darai had a great understanding of the landscape of the Pool tribe and had long decided on a good location. To prevent himself from disturbing the other people from the tribe, he had chosen a place which was a little further away. However, everyone could still hear some faint, collision noises. It was just that no one minded it. At the bottom of a wall of stone, Rara Darai was dealing blow after blow. Every collision was earth-shattering. Wang Zheng smiled when he heard the thumping sounds from afar. He had accepted a great disciple. Since the disciple was so hard-working, as the master, he could not afford to slack off. If he was overtaken by his disciple, it would be too shameful. Moreover, he had been trying to accumulate battle abilities so as to summon Bonehead. Wang Zheng sat cross-legged. The primordial regression technique started to circulate according to a set of sequences. Unknowingly, a visible airflow could be seen surrounding his body and started spinning. The airflow entered from the nose and ears of Wang Zheng and expelled through his body. At the crack of dawn, Wang Zheng woke up naturally. However, the people of Tita woke up earlier. Obviously, Lan Ling would not be awake at such an early time as she was still enjoying her sweet dreams. Rara Darai was sleeping beside the wooden house beside Wang Zheng. The practical matters concerning the people of Tita would be discussed with Lan Ling, and Wang Zheng had no business in it. Wang Zheng's main focus would be imparting cultivation techniques to Rara Darai. He was considered more of a tourist. "Rara, how many people are there in the Pool tribe?" asked Wang Zheng. Rara Darai was bringing Wang Zheng on a tour around the Pool tribe. The people of Tita had great planning skills, with the area clearly divided into residential areas, hunting areas, and training areas. "We could be considered a large tribe in this area with over 20,000 people, replied Rara Darai proudly. 20,000 giants. If they were to gather, it would be a spectacular view. Elder Mu Sen is the pride of our Pool tribe. He is one of the 8 great elders for the entire Tita planet. What about Khalifa? Is he an elder too? He is the elder of our tribe and would be equivalent to the head of the race in human words." Between their words, a swarm of butterfly-looking creatures flew past, leaving behind a red glow in the air. It was beautiful. Suddenly, Wang Zheng felt that he was a frog in a well. Within the Milky Way Alliance, There were many similar planets with such unique sceneries. However, he had not seen any of it before. Having a long life could be a great thing too. He wondered if there was anyone having the ambitions to travel to the entire Milky Way alliance. How many giants are there on Tita? It was a question that Rara had no idea of. He scratched his head and said, I'm not too sure about that. There should be a lot. Tita is very big and broad. Elder Mu Sen would know more about the details. Ada, you could ask him about it. Wang Jung smiled and replied, I was just asking casually. Come, let me examine the results of your training. The Plum Blossom Stakes training was not suitable for Rara, and he did not have the conditions for it. However, Wang Jung still imparted to him some basic combat techniques and some sets of moves that were more practical. This would allow Rara to have an advantage in battle. From his understanding, the Pool tribe would be considered to be not too shabby in this area. However, it wouldn't be considered as big amongst the other Tita tribes. They were more well known because of the existence of Elder Mu Sen. He also felt that between the people of Tita, it was filled with competition in the battle for glory. Moreover, it would be the annual battle of the warriors between the Pool tribe and the Lingshan tribe in just a few days. This was also the reason why the Pool tribe had to elect their number one warrior. The battle of the warriors between the tribes was an important activity to both tribes. They were born for battle and wished to die in a battle. This was a line that Rara often said. Wang Jung could agree more with the first half of the sentence but couldn't accept the latter half of it. Whenever he saw Rara banging the stone wall, he felt both awestruck and satisfied. Wang Jung adjusted Rara angle and posture and Rara was able to understand it quickly. It might also be because the moves were more suitable for a giant. Wang Jung felt that Rara's progress was good, and with more frequent training, he would be able to crush a mech in just one blow. Rara's appetite had been increasing recently, he did not have to eat so much in the past. Mu Sen appeared beside Wang Jung quietly, and this surprised Wang Jung. Elder Mu Sen, it seems that you have some skills. With his current condition, Wang Jung was surprised that he only noticed Mu Sen when he was within 3 meters of him. Mu Sen smiled gently and the wrinkles on his face became relaxed. The wise ones of Tita planet do not know how to battle, it is just that I have a very calm heart. A calm heart? Yes, Mr. Wang Jung. Don't you feel that the world of Tita is very beautiful? Yes, this is the most beautiful place that I have ever seen, and it is brimming with life, exclaimed Wang Jung. Mu Sen took a look at Rara, who was training seriously. The humans' pace of conquering the Milky Way seems to have never stopped. In fact, they have missed out on a lot of beautiful things as a result. We are fortunate to have this star. Elder Mu Sen, why do you always address yourself as the people of Tita? If I remember correctly, your planet should be called Titan Star. Mu Sen smiled and replied, it is true that we are called Titan. However, it was only so during the times when we still had titans. I have heard from Rara, it seems to be a legend about gods. This isn't just a legend. Titans were a real existence. Moreover, they have appeared in the history of the people of Titan twice. However, it was a very long time ago. The strongest Tita warrior had the chance to become a Titan, said Mu Sen. Mu Sen looked at Rara with eyes filled with compassion. Thank you, Mr. Wang Jung, for being willing to impart such strength to our tribesmen. With your perceptive abilities, you will definitely be able to accept the grace of our god, Titan. Wang Jung wouldn't deny Mu Sen's words. In fact, the abundance of Yuan Qi had allowed his body to recover quickly. This had an impact on his explosiveness and endurance abilities as well. With the primordial regression technique, his body was able to recover constantly. He had felt very comfortable since waking up yesterday. What is the grace from your god about? Asked Wang Jung casually. Mu Sen pointed at the sky and said, wind. Wind? Mu Sen then left. It was at this point that Wang Jung suddenly thought back to the battle with Rara, and he was suddenly enlightened. It seemed that giants were able to control the airflow around them, however, it seemed to be an innate ability. This was a planet that had inclination to the wood element of the phase of 5 elements. It was brimming with life and the power of wind and thunder. The primordial regression technique was about combining the power of the 5 elements. He had grasped the fire and water elements. Although it wasn't a full understanding, he was able to use it in his ability X since he was on a planet with strong inclination to the wood element. How could he waste such an opportunity? The theory of the 5 elements was extensive and deep. What he was trying to achieve wasn't a full understanding as this would cause him to be trapped. He should try to go with the flow and use his heart to understand it instead. At one side, Rara Durai was training hard. On the other side, Wang Jung started strolling around relaxingly. The human moved as the wind moved, and the wind moved according to how the heart moved. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Wang Jung's body started to feel different. With every step, there was a mysterious tempo. Moreover, the space around him seemed to move as he moved. It was slow at times and accelerated at times. Naturally, Wang Jung was moving in the footwork of plum blossom stakes. He was moving with the wind and the wind was moving according to what he desired. Spinning, a sudden lunge, dancing, floating, silent killing, ice cold, raging. These were the desires of the wind. Wang Jung was completely immersed in it, and he had become one with the environment. It was a mysterious feeling. He knew that the enlightenment this time was much deeper than the previous times when he utilized ice and fire. For the first 2 times, it was more of him recreating the elements after knowing about the methods and achieving enlightenment. However, he understood wind on a much deeper level this time. This was the wind of the wood element in the 5 phases. It was just the tip of the iceberg, and this had benefited Wang Jung much. There seemed to be no longer any restrictions on him in the world as he moved as the wind moved. Everything went silent. It wasn't the wind moving, but the heart. Wang Jung had gone completely still, and time seemed to have stopped at this moment. One couldn't be sure how much time had passed. When Wang Jung opened his eyes, the sky had already started to turn dark. A beautiful sunset could be seen afar and was mesmerizing. Rara Durai stood at a side seriously, holding a huge, wooden club in his hand. Wang Jung couldn't help but ask, "Rara, what are you doing?" "Ada, you are too great. I have heard that only the greatest wise ones could achieve enlightenment. In our Pool tribe, only Elder Mu Sen was able to achieve it, and that was the reason for him becoming our elder. You are the second person to achieve it." From the eyes of Rara Durai, one could see that it was no longer just respect, but admiration. There were even signs of fear. Among the people of Tita, there was a distinction between warriors and the wise ones. Warriors would not be able to achieve enlightenment but would obtain power. The wise ones would lose strength but achieved intelligence. As for enlightenment, it was the pinnacle of intelligence. Wang Jung smiled and asked, "How could you tell that I have achieved enlightenment?" Rara Durai scratched his head and answered, "Ada seemed to have become one with the world just moments ago. You felt just like the wind, although it wasn't exactly the same." Wang Jung was taken aback slightly. He had not expected Rara Durai to be able to understand things so well. "Perhaps there will be a day where you will be able to do just so." "Me?" Rara Durai pointed at himself. He quickly waved his hands and said, No, Ada, I'm very stupid. All I want is to master the techniques you have imparted to me." If a warrior and a wise one were to become one, the shock it would bring would be unmatched. "It's getting late, let's go back. I'm hungry," said Wang Jung as he was touching his growling stomach. From what Charcoal had said, once you have reached a certain level of training, food wouldn't be that essential. Without the joy of eating, life would likely be very boring. If it was up to Wang Jung to make a decision, he would definitely choose food over other things. A giant and a small figure headed towards the tribe, leaving behind mottled shadows in the forest, seemingly a prelude to something. Lan Ling and Khalifa had gained a better understanding of the situation of the Pool tribe. She wasn't here for a tour but to explore the developmental opportunities for the Pool tribe. The Pool tribe could be considered to be one of the friendliest tribes with the humans and was a good representative of the people of Tita. Through interactions with the Pool tribe, they could conclude where the baselines were for both parties and establish the boundaries for future interactions. For a cordial relationship among two races, this was very important. The development of the Pool tribe was quite advanced, and there were applications of human technology, especially in battle armor. Such giant-sized suits of battle armor came with mobility devices. The metal weapons were the most fearsome and were more useful than the primitive weapons that the people of Tita were using. However, Lan Ling found out that these metal weapons had been sealed and the primitive weapons were used for common training of the people of Tita. The primitive weapons were a form of solid wood. Elder Khalifa, are the current sets of weapon systems not good enough? I noticed that no one was using it during training, asked Lan Ling. If one were to use the weapons of humans during hunting, it would be much easier. On Tita, other than giants, the fearsome beasts were also gigantic. One could easily spot one that weighed a few tons. Obviously, there were some that were harmless, while some possessed extremely strong attacking abilities. This was also the reason why humans mainly stayed within the cities. Khalifa shook his head and said, "Your weapons are great and terrifying, however, we have a different reason to using weapons. Humans use them for conquering, while we use them for survival. Our strength is enough for everyday hunting. We wish to survive through our own hard work. This is also a form of giving back to the natural world. We wouldn't want to use it unless it was the last resort." Lan Ling nodded her head and said, "I understand." Khalifa smiled and replied, "We know that the Lan family has helped us a great deal over the years. We will do regular training sessions with that equipment. Has the approval from the Milky Way Alliance been processed? The Commerce Organization has created a fuss over it and it is still being delayed. Our people have also been working hard, but the strength of our enemies should not be underestimated. Therefore, we have to make ample preparations." Lan Ling was exceptionally serious at the moment. Khalifa stood up and took deep bow at Lan Ling. Lan Ling immediately stood up to stop him, but Khalifa were determined. "Miss Lan Ling, I would like to thank you all on behalf of the people of Tita for staying with us till the end. Tita wasn't just ours to begin with. It also belongs to you. Let's protect our home together." Lan Ling knew that she had been officially accepted by the people of Tita and had become the representative of the humans to the people of Tita. At this moment, a loud voice could be heard from outside the house. "I'm so hungry, is dinner ready?" The food of the people of Tita wasn't something a normal person could eat. This was at least the case for Lan Ling. It was too rough and unappetizing. She was impressed that Wang Zheng could eat it. What she didn't know was that Wang Zheng had eaten worse food. The meat of wild beasts and fruits were over 100 times better than bugs. In the following days, Mu Sen and Khalifa brought Lan Ling around for a tour and met with the heads of the surrounding tribes. Obviously, there were things to discuss. Mu Sen was also responsible for introducing Lan Ling to the group. From there onwards, Lan Ling would be the new representative of the Lan family. As for Wang Zheng, he was training with Rara Darai all the time and had disappeared from the sight of the group till the time of the visit from Lingshan tribe. The Lingshan tribe was the biggest tribe in the area. If it wasn't for Elder Mu Sen, they would have been the leaders. However, the appearance of Mu Sen resulted in them becoming only the second in command. However, from the aspects of population and overall strength, the Lingshan tribe was stronger. The warriors of the Lingshan tribe would have a sparring match with the Pool tribe each year. From the past results, the Lingshan tribe had achieved 90% of the victories. In recent years, they were even able to achieve 6 consecutive victories. The head of the Lingshan tribe had brought over 200 warriors as spectators to the Pool tribe. Compared to the smaller tribes that had arrived earlier, Lingshan tribe could be considered to be late. Due to the presence of Mu Sen, the Pool tribe was undoubtedly the leading tribe of the Kamla region. However, the warriors of the Pool tribe were too weak and hadn't been able to gain the recognition of the warriors from Lingshan tribe. Things were complicated between the people of Tita. Mu Sen was an elder and the leader of Pool tribe. However, this wasn't able to bring glory to the Pool tribe. For this year, Rara Darai had become the new generation's chief warrior and would be battling the Lingshan tribe as the representative for the Battle of the Warriors. The warrior from the Lingshan tribe was Shan Meng. He was the victor for 3 consecutive years and was the nephew of Shan Yu. His strength was among the front runners even within the entire Tita race. Shan Meng's stature was even bigger than a normal giant. He was over a head taller than Rara Darai and was stronger physically. One could call him a monster amongst the giants. He also had a fearsome look that could stop a child from crying at night. "Haha, sorry that I was late, Brother Mu Senator. The road here wasn't easy to navigate," said Shan Meng with a smile. "Shan Yu, how could you be late for such an occasion and make Miss Lan Ling wait?" said Khalifa with a stern voice. Shan Yu took a look at Khalifa and said, How big is the matter, brat? If you encounter any problems, you can look for me, Shan Yu. In the Kamla region, if there is something I can't do, there is no one who could do it, ha ha ha. Shan Yu wasn't a wise one, he was a giant. Some Tita tribes preferred to have giants as their heads of the tribe. Clearly, Shan Yu wasn't showing much respect to Lan Ling. Mu Sen and Khalifa did not care too much about Shan Yu's arrogance. His personality had been like this and they had gotten used to it over the years. Who is this little one? Is he from the Lan family too? Didn't we agree that we only needed one human representative? Said Shan Yu as he looked at Wang Zheng. Clearly, this giant wasn't fond of humans. Among the people of Tita, there wasn't a lack of people who disliked humans and saw them as invaders. This is Mr. Wang Zheng, Ada of Rara Darai and friend of the Pool tribe, introduced Mu Sen. Instantly, the whole crowd went silent. Not only the Lingshan tribe, but the people of the other tribes were also dumbfounded. A thunderous laughter followed. The giants of the Lingshan tribe laughed the loudest, and Shan Meng was laughing so hard that he was having a hard time catching his breath. To allow a human to become Ada, Mu Sen, your Pool tribe is really something. To bow down to the humans, you have disgraced the giants. I will report this in the meeting of the elders. This is an insult to the tradition and pride of the people of Tita, Shan Yu said angrily. Tribal Chief Shan Yu, please calm down. Wang Zheng could defeat Rara Darai and was willing to impart to him the power from mankind's origin. At the same time, he has the same smell as the people of Tita. Therefore, I have agreed to this matter. Mu Sen was using the language of the people of Tita, so Wang Zheng could not understand. However, Lan Ling was able to understand. Humans only know how to hide within their metal shells. What kind of things could he impart? Was he imparting to Rara Darai the knowledge on how to use the metal shell? Ha ha ha. The surrounding giants burst into laughter, and the wise ones did not know whether to cry or to laugh. The giants of the Pool tribe lowered their heads as they were also feeling ashamed. Rara Darai clenched his fists angrily. However, Wang Zheng patted him to stop him. Naturally, this was something that Elder Mu Sen would handle. Mu Sen shook his head and said, he wasn't using a mech. Instantly, the crowd went silent. Following it was another burst of laughter. In the laughter, there were signs of disrespect. If that is the case, Rara Darai is the disgrace of the giants and should be thrown into the abyss, said Shan Yu. Rara Darai is the #1 warrior of the Pool tribe. He was also the opponent for Shan Meng for this year, said Mu Sen. HMPH, I will not battle a coward. That would tarnish my name, and it is a disgrace to a giant. He should atone by going to the abyss himself. Shan Meng shook his head in disapproval and wouldn't even take a look at his opponent. He did not have high expectations for the Pool tribe in the first place as he felt that the entire tribe was full of weaklings. Weak humans could only rely on their metal hulls. Without the metal hulls, they wouldn't be able to withstand a blow, and he could crush them to death with just a finger. Elder Mu Sen, I heard that the people of Tita only believe what they see with their own eyes. In humans' words, there's something called, to see is to believe, while what you hear might not be true, said Wang Zheng calmly. He had climbed to the shoulders of Rara Darai to make it easier for him to speak. Shan Yu let out a cold hum and didn't bother with Wang Zheng. Elder Mu Sen, I am here to complete the battle of the warriors. You can send out a warrior from the Pool tribe. The warrior for the Pool tribe is Rara Darai, said Khalifa. He believed that the judgment of Elder Mu Sen would be correct. Shan Meng, tribal chief, I refuse the battle. Such a coward isn't worth my time. Shan Meng shook his head. For someone who had already won the battle of the warriors 3 times, such a battle couldn't arouse his interest. Shan Long, the glory for erasing the disgrace of the people of Tita will be in your hands. Yes, tribal chief. A giant behind Shan Meng stood forward. He was only half a head shorter than Shan Meng and was still bigger than Rara Darai. As an honorable warrior, Shan Meng could reject such a disgraceful opponent. He didn't have to prove himself anymore, but the other giants still desired such glory. Rara Darai did not know what to expect. He had made preparations to die in battle previously. This was because to be able to die on the battlefield was also a glorious thing for a Tita warrior. However, his opponent had rejected his battle. This was an insult. However, Shan Long was the second strongest warrior in Lingshan tribe and wasn't someone he could win against in a battle. If he was killed by the number 1 warrior, there was still glory. There wasn't such glory if he was defeated by the number 2 warrior. He won't be a match for you. Show them what I have taught you recently. May the gods be with you, said Wang Zheng, then he jumped down agilely. Rara Darai wasn't looking very serious. However, after hearing the last line, he suddenly regained his confidence. This must have been the will of the gods to send Wang Zheng to impart to him such mysterious strength. He would definitely be victorious. The surrounding crowd started to move aside and formed a large circle. The two giants were facing each other. However, Shan Long was still belittling Rara Darai. Amongst the giants, strength could be mainly determined by their size. Therefore, most Tita giants would try to grow as much as they could. Shan Yu let out a huge roar to signal the start of the battle. The giants' bodies started to bend slightly. Facing each other, they growled at the same time. This was a form of battle signal to overwhelm the opponent using their aura first. However, it was clear that Shan Long's voice was louder, clearer, and more imposing, much like the high mountains. Boom! The two giants rushed towards each other at almost the same instant and clashed. Using their arms to hold each other in position, they started to compete with their strength. Wang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or to cry. He had just reminded Rara Darai to use his techniques. However, he had resorted to what he used to do from the very start of the battle. In the battle of strength, Shan Long was able to achieve an advantage very quickly and was dominating Rara Darai with every step. Suddenly, he executed a sudden head smash towards Rara Darai. Boom! Rara Darai was knocked backwards from the collision. Shan Long immediately followed it up with a punch and sent Rara Darai flying. Having connected in just one strike, Shan Long started to wave his arms to incite the crowd. The surrounding giants let out a burst of roars in response to Shan Long. After all, this was an annual battle of the warriors between the Pool tribe and the Lingshan tribe. Mixed within the laughter were words in Tita language that were filled with ridicule and even insults. In the world of Tita giants, only the heroic warriors would receive respect. Rara Darai crawled up angrily. However, Shan Long had already rushed towards him. Shan Long grabbed him and threw him over his shoulders. Rara Darai crashed onto the floor with a loud thud. Shan Long immediately jumped onto Rara Darai and pummeled his head. Rara Darai tried to defend by holding his arms closely to protect his head. However, his opponent was much stronger than him and was able to break his defenses quickly. Rara Darai suffered consecutive attacks on his head, and blood was splattering everywhere. The giants seemed to have gone crazy when they saw the blood and started to shout more wildly. Shan Yu and the rest revealed disdainful looks. They had desired a battle of the warriors. However, the Pool tribe was becoming trashier year after year. Shan Long stood up, stepping on Rara Darai's face with his huge leg. He spat on him and said, "Trash." The surrounding giants shouted a word in unison. There was no need to guess and Wang Zheng could understand it. Kill. Death was another way to erase one's disgrace. Shan Long saw a huge stone. He lifted the huge stone as though he was displaying his strength and wanted to crush Rara Darai into meat paste. Rara Darai moved his head to the side, but he wasn't able to see anything. He wasn't able to do anything too. Perhaps death was the only way to glory. Suddenly, a voice exploded in the mind of Rara Darai's brain. Instantly, his groggy brain cleared up. The huge stone was thrown towards Rara Darai. Instinctively, Rara Darai avoided it by rolling and crawling away. This drew more ridicule. Elder Mu Sen, is this what you get from interacting with humans? Coward, shameless. This is what you get by making a human your Ada. As the elder, you have committed a huge crime, said Shan Yu. Shan Yu, the battle is not over until the last moment. It might be too early to make your judgment. Mu Sen was still calm and composed and looked at Wang Zheng quietly. However, his expression was very serious.